welcome back to our humble Highland home, where you can see we're in the front garden of the croft, which looks even more like a building site than what it did before. But this is the exciting next step in the designing and the building of the log store and shed. We've been very fortunate that we've been able to borrow a mini digger from one of our neighbours. So Adam has been making the absolute most of yesterday and we'll crack on again today. So today I'm going to be giving Adam a hand and we'll go over and see what he's doing and why he's doing it.
So before we put the log store in, we want to make sure we've got a power cable going to it. And we like to run everything underground if we can. We don't like overhead lines if we can avoid it, particularly when it would go across in front of the garage. So we're trenching it. And by good coincidence, or maybe just to add a bit of work to what we're doing anyway, we're getting a new power cable put into the house. So that's going down the same trench, or should I say the cable for our log store is going down the same trench as the new power cable. Reason for the power cable is because the one that we have is undersized. And so when we turn on the shower, for example, our lights all dim. So we struck an arrangement with our local electricity supplier, or the grid provider up here, and we're doing part of the work and they're doing part of the work to bring it up to standard. So the agreement is that we will underground the cable from our house to the edge of our property. So that's about 30 metres there or thereabouts, and you can see here we've just cut off to where our cable will come up underneath our log store. So if we've got our measurements right, that cable will come up just inside the right hand side of the door in the shed. If we've got it wrong, who knows where it's going to be.
So this is a two-person job, so I'm going to put the camera down just now and I'm going to give Adam a wee hand, and I will see you in the kitchen garden later on. Okay, so bye for now. So I'm going to leave Adam now doing his happy little dance as he has managed to get the pipe in place so he can move on with his next job, with the task that he's got in hand. You can see more of what Adam gets up to and what he does and how he does it over on his own channel, which is Weekends with Adam the Bloke. But for me now, I've got some jobs to do up in the kitchen garden. So I was quite pleased yesterday. I was able to get quite a few jobs done that I'd been meaning to do that were starting to annoy me. So I cleared around here. This is a rhododendron, and round the back of it there was an old fallen down support which had a very overgrown clematis. You can still see the roots down there. There's a plastic bag there with sand in it, but the plastic is disintegrating, so I need to do something with that. Basically just tidy it up, get it cleared up and give this rhododendron a bit of a fighting chance. You can see now that I've taken out all the overgrown parts. It is looking a bit sparse, but we're not quite sure what we're going to do with this side of the garden yet, but that's for another day. What an absolutely glorious day. Perfect for being outside in the garden, doing what I love. See, the table's being well used. Maybe not what we quite intended for it, but hey ho. So I'm in the greenhouse and it is roasting, which I'm not complaining about. It's absolutely lovely that it is. So today I'm going to be planting some peas, beans, mange tout and some sweet corn. So that's my focus today. If I get anything else planted, I'll be happy with that, but that's my main aim. So I'm going to show you what I do to get my beans, my peas and my sweet corn all ready for germination. So there's a little few tricks that I have to help with that process. So in these egg cups, I've got my seeds soaking just to help with the process of germination. But before I soak them, what I do is I do a process called scarification. So I get my seed, that's my dwarf French bean maxi seed, and I get something sharp. Now you could use sandpaper, you could use a knife, you could use, I'm just using the edge of some scissors here, and you just scratch away just a little bit of the edge of the seed, just like that. And then, as I showed you earlier, I've just put them in some water to start the germination process off. Now by scarifying the seed, it just allows the seed to get the message that it's time to germinate, it's time to wake up and start that process. It allows for the water to be able to soak directly into the seed rather than waiting for the outer casing of the seed to break down for it to start germinating then. And I'd like to get that process started a little earlier, and to help it along, I've scarified it and I've soaked it in some water just for a couple of hours, and I'll show you that just by doing that it's helped the seed casing break down already. So you can see it, especially with one of the bean seeds, that the casing has already started to break down and to wrinkle up. I'm going to take everything outside because it's gorgeous outside and it's very, very bright in here, so I'm not sure how much you'll actually be able to see. So I'm going to head outside. Got everything I need. Now, I've mentioned in another video that I try and minimise the amount of plastic that I use in the garden. That includes making module blocks, so soil blocks, and I'm going to make some just now. With the plastic, I do use what I have, and I only buy what I absolutely need. I prefer to use either the inner rolls of toilet rolls, or I make paper pots, or I use the modules, but I do use what I have first and then try and do something alternative when I need something. So all I've done with this compost is to break it up. Now this is shop bought compost. It's organic and it's peat free, which I think is really, really important these days. And this is the module maker. Some people call these soil bricks, and I've added just a little bit of water to this mixture, and it should be that if I squeeze it like that, it should hold its shape. Now I'm not adding any sand into this as I would do normally for seeds, because I've found that if I have sand in a mixture for the modules, then it just breaks apart, whereas in an actual tray, that you've got the support of the tray to hold it together. Well, that's what I found anyway. So all I do to make the blocks is push that in there. Make sure they're really firmly in. And then press this down We've got another row of blocks. So I wasn't sure how well you could see them, so I've just brought them around the other side of the table. You see the hole in the middle. So before I plant, write out the labels. So I always put on the name of the seed and the date it was planted, because I do like to look back, and I use that information for planning for next year. So the first one I'm planting is my Mange 2. This is a variety Oregon Sugar Pod. Now, I had a huge success with these last year, so I was absolutely delighted with them. And I also managed to save a lot of seed. So I will be doing an experiment this year to see how many of my own seeds germinate, and I will do that exactly the same as what I'm doing with the main variety. So that's the first ones that I'm going to be planting. So I just drop it in the little hole that is already made. Next, I'm going to plant my dwarf French beans, variety Maxi. And again, last year I had a really good crop of beans from these seeds. So hopefully this year I'll get another good crop. So next I'm planting the Sweetcorn, which is a variety called Incredible F1. Now, last year I didn't have a great crop of Sweetcorn, but I think that was more to do with the conditions that they were growing in. I think they were just crowded out with other things that I was companion planting along with. So we'll give it a go this year and we'll see how we go with them. There's just something about getting your hands in amongst the soil or the compost that is very therapeutic. But it's very, very well known that gardening and growing and getting in touch with nature and the soil has so many health benefits. I do that as part of my job. I do that as part of my life. It is just part of my life, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. So next I'm going to be planting my peas, which is my main crop, and it's a variety called Onwards. Now, for those that watched my other video of my epic pea seed fail, and one of the reasons that it could have been was the seed was out of date, but that was a great way of doing a viability test of the seed, which I will go over in another video, because if not, this video is going to be too long. Are the different reasons why that seed could have failed, but that was one of the reasons. So hopefully I'll have better luck. I'll have better luck this time. That's everything planted, and I've just pushed them in slightly because I've soaked them. The seeds have already started to swell, so I've just pushed them in a little bit, and then I'm just going to put a sprinkling of compost on top. So I'm going to go and water these from the top down. Now, the compost has already got quite a lot of water in it because I added some before I made the soil blocks. So that will help with the germination process with the water from the bottom up, and I'll add some from the top down. Now, with these seeds, they are pretty big, they are pretty robust, so I'm not concerned that they're going to get washed away as some seeds might do, because the seeds come in all different sizes. This is just how I would plant these kind of seeds, but anything smaller than that, then I would do that differently, but I will cover that in another video. And this is a watering can that's had water in it overnight, so it is aired off, it's not freezing cold, and it's also got the rows turned up the way, so that gives a gentler flow of water over the top of your seeds. So I'll do that just now, and then I'll pop them in the greenhouse, and hopefully we should start to see some life within the next couple of weeks. That's my seeds in the greenhouse now. Forgot to mention earlier about my wooden seed trays. Now my wooden seed trays were handmade by my dad out of recycled pallet wood. Now I'd mentioned this in a previous video, which I will highlight below, the different things that you could do in your garden to make it more environmentally friendly. So I've got my net covers over the things that I've actually got growing, and I'm still putting fleece over the top of these as well at night time, because we're still getting regular frosts, so I'm not taking that risk at the moment. So I don't know whether you can see through the netting. That's all the garlic, and I've also got beetroot seeds in there which are not germinated yet. And we've got lots and lots of onions, and I've planted them with a space in between so that I'll be able to get a row of carrots in there, just so that the onions can deter the carrot fly once it's on the go. So we'll give that a try, see how it works. How gorgeous is it, just sitting down here on the log that fell across the burn, just listening to the birds and the water. So I'm going to be away for the next few days through college and through my work, and so I better get tidied up here and go and get my stuff ready for heading off later today. So for now, thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you've enjoyed the wee update for the seed planting, and I will see you in the next video.